Okay guys, today I'm going to show you how to do this interwoven um, things with a border inside Inkscape, and we're going to be using an extension called Pathops that you can get from this GitLab website. It's very easy to install and it works pretty good. I did have to reinstall Inkscape to um, get it to work well. I don't know, well, work at all, I guess. I don't know if it's just a problem that I was having or what the deal was, but anyway, that's the extension we're going to use. It's free, open source, so you can get it and try it out for yourself. Okay, obviously you can see here we've got two letters, O and S, interwoven, and then they each have a thick border around them, and then the borders also are interwoven. The reason this is a challenge to do, I guess maybe I just don't know the best way to um, like streamline this process. Um, I I'm more familiar with Illustrator than with Inkscape, and here it's just like it doesn't work the same way at all. It's endlessly frustrating to use Inkscape compared to Illustrator in this specific instance. In a lot of ways, they're pretty comparable, but in this one case, I really can't wrap my head around like why Inkscape is like this. Like I realize, this it's a free program and getting developed um, for free by these people or whoever works on it. But um, yeah, I guess I just don't see the logic behind the way that it works. But anyway, this extension sort of works more like Illustrator, not exactly, but yeah. Enough about that. We'll just go ahead and do it. The reason that um, I want to know how to do this is I'm very familiar with having to do these like sort of offset around a shape and then cut away the shape behind it, mostly for like vinyl decals and stuff like that. You're constantly doing that, and in this case, um, it just the whole process it should just be much, in my opinion, much easier, much simpler. But regardless, let's just power through and see what we can do. So click on the text tool, just recreate O and S here, drag out, make them bigger. All right, so now we've got this as text, so we're going to go ahead and make it a path, object to path, and they're grouped, so we'll ungroup them. To a large extent, I won't be using any keyboard shortcuts, not because I don't want to, but for some reason they don't work well on my computer, and I'm not sure why. Okay, so now we have O and S as paths, and actually before we do anything, we're going to select them both again, edit, and duplicate. So what we need to do now is put the border on the outside, and the quickest way I found to do this is just with the dynamic offset. But to make sure they're the same, we're going to go up here and just click and drag for a reference line or a guideline, and then okay, let me undo. So over here I got my snapping turned on. I'm gonna turn that snapping off just so I can put it kind of wherever feels good. Okay, right about there. I'll turn the snapping back on. All right, so now we've got two overlapping S's here. So on the top one, I'm going to go click it and then go path, dynamic offset. And then I'll just go ahead and drag straight up. Oh, excuse me. Drag straight up to, and it'll snap to that guide point. So actually I want to zoom in over here on the O, and then I'll do the same thing to the O on top, dynamic offset, and then drag straight up. Oops. Drag straight up to that path. All right, and just so we can see what's going on here, I'm going to make both these a green color, and then object lower to bottom. Okay, so now we can see exactly what we've got. Oops. We've got two letters here. Basically, we've got the green, and the green is actually going behind the black also in both cases. So now we just want to cut away that, and inside Inkscape, just the default tool. We don't need to use the extension yet. We're just going to go to division. And actually that's exactly what we want, is to divide that and erase the top. So object, path, division. Okay, that's exactly what we want. And just for contrast, we'll change these colors. Oops. Oh, the inside, please. Okay, dropper tool. All right. So now what we're gonna do is grab our S shapes here, maybe, and move them over and just kind of approximate where we want the overlaps to be. To me, that looks fine. Actually, we're gonna save this one for later, and then possibly use it depending on your purpose for doing this. Maybe you would want actually the O to be all one piece, or like this whole thing to be like the bottom layer of your vinyl, and then only separate with the O and the S. And we can go ahead and do that too, but we'll do that later. So I'll just grab these again and edit, duplicate, bring it over, edit, duplicate, and bring it over. Okay, so that is exactly what we want so far. Here we've got the S on top, and on this side we're going to bring the O to the top. Okay, so it's object, raise to top. All right. Okay, and before we cut these, if you think about it, the green here, the outside of this green S and the inside of the blue, they share a line. So we don't need to cut it twice. We just need to get rid of that, and then when it cuts it, it will cut effectively the same thing where the green was. So it's a bit redundant to have that, and it seems like it causes some errors. So anyway, we're gonna grab these things. I'll do this S first. So just grab the ones we want, and then we're gonna go extensions, generate from path, pathops, division. And the cool thing about this, well, I'll show you first. Normally, when you do this in Inkscape, we go division, and then it behaves in an unpredictable manner. Like, well, why did it do that? I have no idea. It's because you can't cut multiple things at once, so then you would be having to duplicate a lot, like duplicate, it just to get it to cut in every instance. And you know, before I found this extension, I tried that. I tried doing that. It really, to do this one thing, it took me like a freaking hour. It was ridiculous. Okay, so anyway, I'll grab these again, and then I'm gonna go extensions, generate from path, pathops, division. Okay, and it seems like it is ruining things, but it actually works. And then with the pathops extension, it keeps it, like your cookie cutter, it keeps it for as the default setting. It keeps it, so then we can erase that, and you can see here the faint outline of where it actually cut through. And then we're going to do the same thing over here with the O and the S. Okay, but we need to do each parts of the O separately because it's two independent rings. So now I've got all the S selected and only the outer ring. I'll go back and use the pathops division. Yeah, for some reason, whenever it does that, it makes me a bit nervous. Like, is this thing about to crash? Anyway, I can delete that. You can see that it did, in fact, cut through there. Okay, and then I just need to grab the individual segments here. Okay, I think I've got the 3, the 2, and the ring. Okay, these are all the ones that are going to be affected in this next operation. I have selected, going back to pathops division. Cool, and that's it. So you can see there that it also cut there. So now we've effectively made every place where they overlapped, they got cut into an individual segment, and then now we're gonna work to recombine them. So before I actually do that, I want to grab them, and then I'm gonna duplicate them, and maybe drag it down. Nice. Sure would love for this to drag down. Okay, well, maybe I'll just try one at a time. Edit, duplicate. Yeah, I don't know to what extent this is my computer, because I'm literally just on an old laptop, and to what extent this is the program. Like, it's hard to draw the line. I don't know why the duplicate was working just a second ago, and now it's not. So, classic. I'll just undo that. Does anything move? Okay. All right. Well, anyway, you could duplicate this. I'll still try it as it is now, and see if I can get it to work. But you could duplicate it, and then you could, instead of having like the S, this part of the S showing over top, you could have it underneath, just by having, now that they're all cut, just make a copy now before you do any modifications to do the opposite. So here we have to decide what we want in front, and in this instance I wanted the S in front, and then to have it go behind the O, and then in front again. And then maybe just for the sake of variety, I'll have the S go behind, then in front, and behind. Okay, so if that's the case, then I want to go here. Let me zoom in. So wherever it's going to go behind, I want to erase. Delete, delete, delete. Delete, 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 delete. Okay, and then where it's going to go through, I want to keep. And here the O will be behind the S, so I'm going to delete these. Delete, 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 delete. Okay, perfect. Let me zoom out just a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to actually grab this. And I've got over here on this snapping bar, I pretty much just turn on all the snapping all the time. That's the way I like it. And if it starts giving me trouble, then I just turn it off. So it should snap in to place more or less. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm not zoomed in close enough. And it could be because the recording program I'm using also is just really causing some issues. Okay, so there we go. It snapped into place how we want it. And then now we're going to go and use the union tool to combine these. We don't need any special union tool. We're just going to use the normal one that's built right in with Inkscape. Here, 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 here. Okay, and then I'm going to go path, union, and see how it now it brought those back together. Combine them. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing with the O. The O. Obviously, you need to do it with the different quarter, the green also, right? Okay. Path union. Okay, then the two parts of the O-ring. So now working on the inner. Just selecting them all. Path union. Okay, now we can do the green here on the inside. Union. path union, and up here also path union. Okay, so the only thing that I don't like about this is I don't know like what math all is involved, but it seems like it doesn't overlap them quite perfectly. Like you can look here on this S and notice like a weird thing, like it doesn't get it perfect, and I don't know why. Let me change the view to outline. It just, yeah, I have no idea why it has this error, but it for sure does. Like those should be exactly the same in exactly the same spot. Oops. And they're not. But and whenever I did it with the normal Inkscape tools, like with the duplicate and the paste in place and all this sort of thing, it ends up the same way. Actually, I think it's worse. I think it's worse using the it ended up worse the last time, and it could just be like a floating number issue. Like, oh well, they had to round a little bit. I'm not sure. I don't know how you fix that, but it doesn't end up perfectly. And I think that's just the way it is. To some extent, you just have to accept it. So just for contrast, we'll change these colors. Maybe, let's see what's all selected here. Okay, then we can change this one to whatever we want. Then these ones, and you could do these individually colored if you want, but or gradients or however you would want to do it. Okay. So yeah, that's basically the process. Oh, damn it! That's the process to do that overlapping thing, and that extension for cutting multiple at once. It saves so much headache from having to duplicate and all this other stuff. And then, like I said before, if you, let's say for example, you were doing vinyl and you wanted a blue, like a blue base layer and then the grain on top, just like literally you wanted a decal exactly like this, what you would want to do is in this case, actually we've already cut it now, so probably could have gone a step before this to get this base layer. But before we do anything further, we're going to go over here and then actually duplicate this again. Duplicate, well, if this works. I forgot about that. Oh, I don't, why is it not? Anyway, if we just go path union, yeah, there's our base layer. And then we can grab this, grab all our little pieces, and this would be the second color. Oops. Grabbed the wrong one. Apparently I need to go object, raise to top anyway. And I'll drag these over here. Dang it, still got the wrong one. You, and you, and you, and you. Okay, object, raise to top. Dude, why is it not grabbing the freaking one that I want? Yeah, that one right there. That one. Okay. Dude, okay, object, raise to top. Finally, my God. All right, and then you can see you could eventually line these back up again. Let's get it approximate, and then of course they would be one color, or you could do two colors, I suppose. But yeah, that would be how you would do that. And yeah, that's it. That's a tutorial. So yeah, again, this extension is really sweet for cutting multiple things all at once, like a cookie cutter. And as far as I know, for ending up with this result, of like the interwoven thing, I've looked around and it seems like a lot of people have this question, and essentially the only answer anybody gives is, yeah, Inkscape doesn't work like that. Inkscape doesn't work like Illustrator, and I don't get why people have such an attitude of, oh, it's just how it is. It can't be like Illustrator. I don't get it. This functionality seems, to me, it's super useful. Literally, like of I'm really constantly doing this, so it was such a relief to find something that at least makes it possible inside Inkscape, because it is a free option, you know. So yeah, it's nice. And I wouldn't mind to pay for Illustrator, except they don't have the option. Like, they have an option for Photoshop where it's only $10 per month. But yet, if you only wanted Illustrator, like I do, the cheapest option is like $30 per month. I don't understand why they have their pricing set up like that. Other than Illustrator is a very specific program, and it's not like some, I think a lot of people can use Photoshop, but only a few people are going to want to use Illustrator, and so they charge for it. But anyway, the biggest difference for me is just like with the Boolean tools here, they just don't work the same, and they're constantly, for no reason, erasing the one you use for the cookie cutter. I don't get it. Why does it need to do that? I don't understand the idea behind that. If somebody could explain that to me, or could go on and say like a better way to end up with these results, or better results where they actually, the paths actually cross over exactly like you want them to, exactly how they should. Yeah, I'm all ears, really. Yeah, if there's a better way to do this, I want to know it. But anyway, until then, I hope this helped you. I hope it's useful, and God bless.